Welcome, everyone, to our Resilient, Wild, and Unstoppable Facebook interview series. And I have to say, you just want to listen in, or you do want to listen in. We're going to get that just out of there because I have had an amazing, long conversation with Tanya, and I feel like I could talk to her for, I don't know, 5 or 6 more hours or 5 or 6 more days because she is so full of great information. So I'm curious, Tanya, knowing that you were a nurse and knowing everything that you've tapped into and all the magic that you've created, where what actually got you started on the study of the nervous system and all of these gifts that you are using to help others?
After being a nurse for over 20 years, actually, and my own healing journey, understanding that I needed to advocate for myself, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and had a breakdown, or I like to think of it more of as a breakthrough. I went through burnout, which led to the multiple sclerosis, I'm sure, and, overworking and not paying attention to me. And a part of that was because I had trauma and it was unresolved and kind of unrecognized. I mean, I did to a certain degree. I had sexual abuse trauma. So I knew that was trauma. That was something I knew. And I would go to a therapist and be like, I have trauma. I have this trauma. Help me. Like, I need to work on it. And they'd be like, oh, you're a nurse and you seem very well adjusted. And I'd be like, you're not my therapist then. And out I would go. And I tried this throughout my life, but nobody really stuck for therapy. And, the teacher arrives when the student is ready. So maybe I wasn't really ready when I thought I was. So when I went through my journey with MS and with the medical system, I realized how it was really more sick care, especially when it comes to trauma, mental health, and that aspect, right? We're really good at fixing a broken bone or dealing with a car accident, but when it comes to the inner workings of the body, it seemed like we really didn't know what we were doing.
Hmm.
Um, After 2 years of working with my team to heal and not healing, I ended up taking it all into my own hands and healing myself by changing my life. Better sleep, eat better, exercise, mindfulness, meditation, so on and so forth. Like, it just was the healing journey. And when you start to do the right things, it's amazing how your life changes. But nobody was leading me to those right things. They were just giving me another pill, another prescription, another doctor to see, another therapist. Never, here's the right things to do all around the board. So I left nursing and started my company, which initially was Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. And I decided that because trauma was really what led me to multiple sclerosis, which is also part of neurology. And I also got diagnosed with another thing at that time besides anxiety, depression, panic disorder, CPTSD, which is your complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So childhood trauma. I got diagnosed with functional neurological disorder.
Oh,
So when I would get stressed out, I would convert stress into symptoms of disease. And so it could be whatever.
right.
And so to me, what I had was trauma, and then my nervous system was absolutely fried from it. And so if when you get a diagnosis, many people, and I knew this as a nurse, right? You get a diagnosis, next thing you know, that person's an expert on it. You want to know something about, Crohn's, go talk to someone that has Crohn's. They will tell you everything you need to know about it because they have researched it. They become an expert, not just from the lived experience, but from the aspect of the treatments they're receiving and the research that they've done. So I decided, you know what, that's my thing. Trauma, nervous system. So I'm going to learn everything I need to learn about these things. I'm going to become an expert and I'm going to heal myself. And then I decided to make Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self and heal others. And that was the first part of the journey.
Just the just the drop in the journey that has expanded.
Yeah.
So one of the
Yeah.
things that you said is you were able to heal yourself by following the steps and learning what to do for somebody who has experienced the trauma or is looking for the guidance and isn't quite sure what those steps are to even get on the right path of healing. What are some steps, some tools, some tips that can help them go, oh, I need to try that, or maybe that's where I need to start? How do they
Mhm.
find that starting point?
This is a great question. So, first and foremost, I want to say right off the bat, healing is possible because, as I was saying when we were talking before, when you believe that healing is something you're never going to finish, why would you even start? Especially when you're looking at it like a mountain, because that's what we tend to do. We look at the all instead of just the first step. And that's
Hmm.
all you have to do is be concerned with the first step. It's no different than how you'd eat an elephant, which I do not suggest because I love elephants and I probably have to go find you. And but it would be one bite at a time. Same way you drink the ocean, one sip at a time. It's the same way that you do anything. It's from one breath, one moment, one step. So when you look at it like that and you stop thinking that you're going to jump in and absorb all of the trauma at once and deal with it, you're not. You're going to deal with one piece at a time. You also, great thing to learn is that you do not have to revisit every single traumatic experience that you have because trauma stacks. And you can have one major episode of abandonment and a whole bunch that came after that. But if you resolve the one episode of abandonment, you resolve it all. So you don't have to go through every single space, every single one of them. You will get to a point in your healing journey where you will stabilize, where you have dealt with the bulk of your traumas. You understand who you are at your core. You hold yourself with compassion. You have a wonderful toolkit. So when things come up, you don't spend very much time dysregulated. You hold yourself with compassion. You return to that balanced space. That's you're still in other people's minds, you're still unhealed. Then I don't agree with that. I think that you are healed, and it's the fact that you have the toolkits and everything that you're doing that proves that, right? It's how you
Hmm.
move through those spaces. We are always evolving and growing. That's a different thing entirely, and that's what my other stuff is that I work on. But the first thing that I would start with is container, right? If you aren't containing the traumas, right? And so I would teach people, and I'm going to do this for you. I would teach people to create a container. You want a container that you put all your trauma in. For me, I made it a train car. And that's because as a child, I loved the book, The Boxcar Kids. And I was an avid reader. So I decided that I love the idea of a box car for several reasons. I put all my trauma in there. I could lock the door, and if I didn't want it there anymore, I could get an engine on that puppy and push and take it away. And also, if I felt there was more trauma than one could hold, I could put it in another and another. So this was my way of dealing with that. In all of the work that I've done with people, people have made lockers, backpacks, trunks, you know, all kinds of different things as their own personal container that they put all of their trauma in. It's all in that container, and when you are ready and in the position to work on it, you open it up and you work on it, and when you're not ready, you close it again. Then I suggest that you make a portable container, and this is a visual space in your mind that you create. For me, I made a briefcase because I was the director of nursing when I was going through this, and I was familiar with carrying a briefcase with me. So this briefcase is where if you're out in public and something happens that is very traumatizing or triggering, you can compartmentalize it into the briefcase and you can wait until you get home or to your safe space to
Wow.
unpack it. So you're not dealing with it in that moment. It's like a pause. It's not, I'm not going to deal with it. You sure as heck don't put it in the briefcase and then toss the briefcase away, right? You take the briefcase home. And so I've had experiences where I've used those and they're very effective. And then also other people using them. So first, container. The other thing I teach in the first session that I would do with people in trauma is safety, because many therapists miss that. It's very much walk in and they're like, hi, what brings you here today? And you open up Pandora's box and start talking about your traumas. And then it's like, oh, well, we're done here today. When you're on your way out, just stop by and make an appointment with the receptionist and I'll see you next time. And you're like, well, what do I do with everything that I just opened up and exposed here? How do I soothe my nervous system? And without the soothing, the trauma remains because we need to finish the event. And the event gets finished when we return ourselves back to safety. So you have to have safety. Safety can get created in your house by creating a safe space where it is your private space that you can go into when you're doing your healing, that nobody else is allowed in. That's your safe space. When you're doing the healing, especially like if you've got therapy, you've got group therapy, stuff like that, you want to be able to have your privacy, you want to be able to open up your stuff. And if you're emotional, you want to be able to have those emotions freely without somebody staring at you and judging the experiences that you're having in that moment. I was lucky. I had a spare bedroom in the house that was my art room, and I got a great big, huge beanbag chair that was double the size, and I got a weighted blanket. And then I strung lights across the ceiling that were multicolored little twinkly lights. And I would go in and climb into that in a nest, and I pull the blanket over and weigh myself down, and I would put colors on that I associated with calm, with love, with joy, whatever it was, to help my emotion, like to help return that to that space. So a safe space is important. And then the final thing that I teach in the first session is soothing, because we have to have the tools to bring us to safety. Otherwise, we shouldn't be opening the door yet. And so I would teach a few different techniques, and I'll give you them for people right now because they're beautiful techniques to have. Number one, this is one of my favorite ones to give, because you can use it anywhere. And those are the ones that are the most powerful, because what good is a technique if you can only do it at home? Like a cold shower is great, snap you out of a lot of stuff, but you can't do a cold shower in the middle of your workday. It's not usually effective. So this one here, and it works on a couple of different things. So one, you're just going to take your thumb and you're going to rub it against your fingers, and you're going to focus on the sensation of touch. You can feel your fingerprints. And so this is grounding you into your body. You're already less aware of your thoughts because you're focusing on your body. You're going to slow down your breath. Your breath is the brake in your nervous system. When we slow down our breath, it tells our body that we are safe, and it allows it to downshift. So we go back into our parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the other thing that kicks us out of regulation is our mind. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to manage. People will say breath work isn't working for me, but they're going, while their brain is going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are we going to do? That's keeping you up. So no matter if you're even slowing it down, this is putting it back up. So it's almost like you're pulling yourself in this direction. Like I'm going down, but I'm going up, but I'm going down. So this other part of this here is beautiful. First question, where am I? The answer, here. Second question, what time is it? Answer for that, now. Who am I? I am. What are the facts right now? And what do I need is what you finish with. And then you provide that to yourself. So it's a beautiful technique, and you don't have to go to that whole extent. If I'm in a business meeting and my boss is, say, yelling, and I get dysregulated because my dad used to yell, and after he yelled, he used to backhand me. Well, I don't want to, do what might happen, which I could disassociate, and then I'm not hearing anything. I could go into fight mode. I don't want to fight my boss. I just want to keep myself connected in as calm a space as I can. So I can do this whole part, and in my mind, I'm going, where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. Who am I? I am. What time is it? Now. You don't have to go into, you could do the what's the facts, but we're not going into the next stage of what am I going to do? Maybe what you need to do is leave the room, and that might not be allowed at that point in time, right? There are times when we're in those situations. The other thing that I love to teach people is, this is for soothing, and it uses your brain to kind of work against itself a little bit. So this comes from the havening technique, and the havening technique is a subsection of EMDR. And so it works with your brainwave states. And what you're going to do is you're going to take both your hands and cross them over, and you're going to put them on your shoulders and run down your arms. Now, what happens when we rub the outside of our arms in a downward fashion is it actually drops your brain into delta wave. And what delta wave is this the soothing state. So when you were a baby and your mom would hold you and rub your back, same brain state. So you're effectively doing what your parents should have done, but didn't at that time possibly, which was to soothe you, right? If instead of when your dad was yelling, if he had went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I should have never yelled at you like that. Come here, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." It would have finished that, and you wouldn't carry that trauma with you.
Yeah.
So we're just completing it for ourselves now. But this is a way for you to do that, is just to do it in the downward fashion. You can rock yourself while you're doing it. This might be a little bit harder to do in public, so it's not as travel handy. But I'm telling you, if I'm dysregulating and like I'm not okay, I'd rather do this on the train in public than whatever else I might experience from it. And so that's an important one. And then heart focused breathing, my favorite one. This is very simple. Focus on the center of your chest, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And you can change it from heart focused breathing to the quick coherence technique simply by thinking of an emotion, thinking of something that cues up an emotion that is love, gratitude, peace, calm. They're all better brainwave states that will bring you into a coherent state with your brain and your heart. So really calm, balanced space to be in. And you can do that and share that with others too, because when you bring yourself into coherence, you become something that someone wants to balance themselves to when they're dysregulated.
Wow. That so many powerful tools in that short period of time, and magical tools. And that is the power of what Tanya can provide. And I am just going to add that the whole time that we were talking, every time she brought up courses or other things that she's offering, there was a bright light that would come in as if Spirit was saying, "Yep, that's the one. Yep, you got to follow that one. Yep, that's the right path to go."
Yeah.
And even though that part is not on video, you will want to connect, collaborate, and really get to know Tanya.
Yeah,
With
definitely.
that, anything else you want to share before we close out this interview?
Oh my gosh, I do so many things, as you said. I write books and I do courses and classes and all kinds of things, plus have a nonprofit for the homeless. But the other thing that I'm really passionate about is creating the leaders that are embodying the spirituality. I think that we see a lot of spirituality where it looks at almost like we're to avoid the body or forget the body or ascend beyond the body. That's not what my belief system or what my knowing is. My understanding from all of my channeling, all of my connecting, my spiritual practices and stuff is that we bring heaven to earth by marrying our spirit into our body and living as we're meant to live. And many of us right now are activating and awakening. And that's because we're meant to build or to create certain structures for the new earth or for the way that we're meant to live. And that might seem a bit out there for some people, but we can honestly look at a lot of society now and say it's not functioning right. We can look at a lot of how the healthcare system is and say it's not functioning right. So in order for us to have what is working, we need the people that are the visionaries that are seeing the way that it needs to be and are creating those things like healing centers, right? Sound and vibration and frequency and toning and all of those things are powerful tools in your healing journey. But if we don't have those available at a traditional hospital, right? Somebody
Right.
has to create the healing center for those things, which is what we're doing. So I created a space for that as well. So I either help people, I tell people I help them on their healing or awakening journey, but it's all awakening and you're just evolving. And a part of the
Mhm.
evolving is just returning to who you always were and what you've always been and just remembering. And I'm just here to remind you.
Yep, you are here to remind us, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. This has been
Thank you.
fabulous, Tanya.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.